My wife loves to host guests, and I'm dreading the one coming over.
Maybe you could talk her out of inviting this one.
Where to start on this? My 28 male wife, 29 female, loves entertaining. This is a good place to start. I'm already pretty introverted, so having people over feels like a real invasion of my space. Even without this guy coming over, I'm already filled with so much anxiety. I can hardly sit still, and I won't be able to relax until everyone is gone. So I have my shortcomings as well. By the way, this comes from Gry4232M3, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, all the attendees tonight come from our kids' swim team, who my wife wants to get to know better. One of the invitees is also a dad, late 30s, with a kid on the team. And he's a professor at the state university in our town. It's hard to describe him, but I'm sure everyone reading this has met someone just like him. Despite being a professor, he's as dumb as a rock, but absolutely loves to intrude on everyone else's conversation to give his expert opinion. For example, I was talking with another dad about wanting to go bow hunting. We were very much minding our own business, and we weren't intruding on anyone else. I also think we were highly aware that shooting animals with a flying projectile is not a great talk for a kid's swim lesson. So we were well away from the other parents and kids having our conversation. All of a sudden, the professor comes up to us, listens for half a second, and then goes into full lecture mode about the evils of the robber barons and the animal flesh corporate complex.
Oh, God.
God, doesn't seem like that was what they were talking about at all.
Nope.
I told him that actually, that was one of the reasons I wanted to hunt, because factory farming kind of grossed me out. He actually held his finger up to me as if to say, shish, and said, I'm sorry, but I'm an expert in this field. I don't know exactly, but I believe he's a sociology professor.
What?
That's not quite the same field, buddy. I was stunned and truly speechless. He began to lecture us about how evil our intentions were. And thank God, maybe 2 minutes in, the head coach called for all the parents to come around for a discussion on the upcoming practice schedule. At practice today, I sat next to this professor but wasn't part of his group, and I could hear him talking about the evils of professional sports, even though he'd been to a pro baseball game the night prior. But instead of the rest of the people who were there as fans, we went to research the human condition as an impartial observer.
Oh my gosh.
There are certain hipster parents who also have kids on the team that are just in awe of this guy, but I wanted to puke. It was perhaps second only in douchiness to animal flesh corporate complex. What's even worse about what this guy says is the fact that it's clear that he's not there to discuss. He's there to lecture, and for the most part, the parents who are interested in what he thinks just sit there taking it all in. So this guy and his wife will be in our house tonight. I'm dreading it. I mean, physically dreading it. My wife is working very hard to make this dinner successful, but I don't know how much I can take of this guy. If he starts getting insulting towards me and other people, at what point do I speak up? Do I take it to a full-fledged argument if need be? Or do I just keep quiet, letting him dig his own grave, and most people recognize his douchiness for what it is? Maybe even having an argument is exactly what he's looking for, and there are some comments.
Oh my God.
But what advice do you have for OP?
He's just such an awful person.
I think he sucks.
Yeah. Like, he seems less of a professor and more like a stereotypical, like, preacher, you know?
Absolutely. No.
It's just like everything is evil
Yeah.
and you should not participate. I don't know. I think you
Yes.
just have to ignore this kind of person.
I agree.
You can't change him.
To your question about, like, do I start an argument? No.
No.
This is not the type of guy that is going to learn anything from an argument.
Yeah.
It's going to make you look bad.
Especially in your house. I mean,
Yeah.
I
just
would be
ignore him.
tempted to mess with
Sure.
him for sure. But like,
Yeah. But
if
you can mess with him in subtle ways.
yeah, exactly. You can mess with him
Yeah.
in subtle ways, or like, you know, you just don't want to take it to an extent where it's going to like ruin everyone's party.
Yeah. But some top comments say, Night Owl I says, or do I just keep my quiet, letting him dig his own grave, etc.? Do this. Better to have this party be remembered as the time we invited that boring a-hole and he was awful, than that time OP blew up and ruined the party. Let
Yeah.
him be the ruiner, not you. Eminent says, it's not like anyone is going to invite him back. Focus on talking to the people you do like. and on helping your wife with the food. I just have to get something out of the oven is a great reason to walk away from a boring conversation. A good host makes sure everyone has a good time. One person clearly doesn't even want to, so focus on everyone else who came along to have a fun night with you. After all, this is about your wife making friends, not you making enemies. Sleep Fight says, what's the point of arguing with him? Seriously, just let him talk, and it will quickly become apparent to everyone that this guy is a total clown. If he starts on some, I'm very smart BS, smile and nod politely and chuckle about it later. If he goes on and on, just say, well, on another note, how about the sport game movie innocuous subject? If he tries to speak over you, say, I wasn't finished speaking, and calmly continue your point. Standing up for yourself doesn't automatically mean there's an argument to be had. If he shushes you, say pointedly, that was rude. If he says he's an expert, you can always say, well, we can agree to disagree. Take the higher road, but don't make yourself a doormat on the way. And maybe in the future, just don't invite him. He isn't entitled to be included just because the rest of the swim team parents are. Pastel Nihilism says this, just shoot down everything he says as neutral as possible. Dismiss him. Or laugh loudly from a throne and proclaim that he has no power here. Addie Flanagan says, these are great. I don't mean to typecast, but there's got to be a well-spoken Englishman or woman somewhere who knows the best ways to stay composed while belittling someone at a dinner party. It's a British tradition. By the way, it's tradition to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. Don't break tradition. Any final thoughts?
I think those comments were right on.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely. Just people will see and eventually get the same opinion as you. Or if they do like talking to him or listening to him, then let them do that.
They can talk to him and listen to him.
Yeah, and then you could do something else.
Yeah.
So you're fine.
Edit. Party is winding down, and I read through the first few responses, but didn't realize this would blow up so much. Basically, the party went okay. Professor Guy wasn't too bad at first, but had a couple of drinks and was in rare form. He didn't realize he had the wrong crowd, and no one was really paying attention to him, which I think was getting under his skin. The absolute craziest thing he said all night to a mixed-race mom on the team, white African-American, was that she didn't understand the complexities of race in America. Professor is white as a ghost. She handled it like a real pro and just let him keep digging his hole. He refused to shut up, but at that point his wife had enough and pretty much said it was time to go.
Oh my God.
They were the first to leave. It's time to go decompress with some Fortnite. And comment one says, oh my God. Reply says, I know a lot of highly educated people who are well aware of how stupid they are, especially people in sciences. A biologist who knows enough about physics to know he cannot explain nuclear decay accurately. It is the rare breed who thinks their specialty makes them more knowledgeable about everything than everyone. Comment 2 says, seriously, I'm struggling to think of anything ruder than to literally shush someone with a finger. Never mind. Kept reading and he managed to find something ruder. Honestly, pretty impressive. Another reply says, I would literally put my hand on his finger, gently put it down and say, we don't do this to other adults. Before anyone gets at me, we don't do that to any humans, really, but this dude sees himself as an adult and others as children, and I feel it would be more effective language. Reply says, oof, can you imagine how he'd respond to being called a child? I'd pay to see that tantrum. Comment 3 says, OP, can you host another party where we can all come deal with this guy? Comment 4 says, I love that this guy gave an update during the party. A true introvert. And that is the end of that story, folks.
My friend was caught stealing from me, so I filed a police report.
You can't do that.
We were out to dinner one night at an expensive hotel. My boyfriend let me borrow his Canon G7X 1800 camera to bring to take pictures with my friends. At the conclusion of the dinner, I went up to the room and realized that the camera was gone.
Uh-oh.
It's a big thing to smuggle. I went back right down to the table and no one had seen it. By the way, this comes from Zealous Ideal Ear 7529. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. So we're just going to guess what we would do in this situation. Let us know what you would do in the comments. So OP says, I immediately got with hotel security and she is on video, clear as day, swiping the camera when my back was turned and shoving it in her purse.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Whoa. I covered for her initially with my friend and contacted her to find a resolution. She had taken the camera with her and my other friends to a club after dinner, which I did not attend, and she lost it there. Oh my gosh.
So first she stole it and then got it stolen?
Yeah. For background, this is my good college friend who I know well, the camera thief. She has been taken on free trips to Coachella and St. Barth's on my dime, not kidding, as well as many other things. We have done a lot together and are good friends, so I expected her to feel sorry. Initially, she lied, saying that she did not have it. When I told her we had a video, she confessed and then said yes, she took it, but lost it at the next bar that she went to with my other friends. It is now gone. I asked her to help me replace it by going in on me with the cost. She has refused all measures or resolutions, and now I feel like I have nothing left to do but file a police report and let them handle it.
Yeah, this is not your friend. I'm sorry, the fact that you even said we can go in on it together.
Yeah, honestly.
She should be paying for the whole thing.
Totally.
This is not like a lamp that she broke in your house. This is a camera that's very expensive.
Yeah. It is impacting my relationship, and I'm furious that my friend is not helping at all. Why should I be on the hook for something that she stole? I have given her 3 weeks to help me resolve this, but she insists that she's going to do nothing. I am being pressed by my boyfriend to either replace the camera or help him file a report with her info in the footage. Yeah, because it's his camera.
Yeah.
She's borrowing it from him.
Yeah.
I even asked her to just throw in half or less than half the cost to help, but she still refuses. I do not want her to get in trouble, but I'm at the point where I feel like she really doesn't care. So am I the a-hole? And there are some comments, but what is your answer?
I feel like you would be the a-hole if you didn't press charges if she's not paying. Because
again,
this isn't your camera.
Right. Yeah, you're definitely not the a-hole. Get that camera back.
Get that camera.
So verdict from the comments are not the a-hole, but commenter number 1 says you are the a-hole. Is there a reason that you are choosing your thieving friend over your boyfriend? She's made it clear that she's not your friend and that she's not going to make this right. The police report should have been filed the moment she said she wasn't going to pay for it. If I were your boyfriend, I would be reconsidering the relationship with you over this. You're really dragging your feet to make this right. Get the report made and replace his camera. OP says, this is how I'm starting to feel. You are right, and thank you for the honest words. I just hate to get anyone in trouble. I think I may be the a-hole because if I wanted to, I could have paid out of pocket and resolved it for everyone. That's not why you're the a-hole. It's not your responsibility.
I think that commenter is a little bit harsh. I just said you would be. But that's just to get the ball rolling. I don't think you are the a-hole. I think you just don't want to get your friend in trouble.
Right. Commenter number 2 says, you are the a-hole. Not even sure why you're asking. I have rarely seen a post with more a-hole-ish behavior on here.
Okay, well, you haven't read a lot of posts.
Yeah, we've seen a lot. You are an a-hole to your boyfriend. Kind guy trusted you with something valuable, and you're not even giving him all the information you have after it got swiped. You brought your a-hole friend to this dinner. You are an a-hole for not filing a report. You are an a-hole to yourself for not holding this effing friend accountable. What the heck do you mean throwing in half? Get your head out of your butt and go file a report. Make sure your boyfriend is made whole. Be utterly embarrassed with your own behavior here and do better next time. Yikes, that's a harsh
comment.
I don't disagree that she should be doing those things, but it's just a very harsh way to say it.
Yeah.
OP says, I know. I just didn't want to get her in trouble. I feel like I could have paid for it myself and resolved for everyone. She is also in our friend group we have had forever, and it will cause ripples. OP clarifies on the location of the security cameras after realizing his boyfriend's camera was missing once OP went up to his room. OP says, wrong. I went up to my room where my boyfriend was. He asked where his camera was. I went right down to the salon where we were eating and it was gone, so no staff had seen it after clearing our table. This is what prompted me to have security check the cameras, which they had in the dining room. Additional information from OP after reading some comments. OP says, I feel guilty because I gave her time to fix it and she made me look like an idiot. I also feel guilty because I know if I could swing it right now, I would have replaced it myself. I just cannot at this moment to buy a $2,000 camera. Yeah. Makes sense.
That's also, she can get in a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah. I sent her a text this morning telling her if I do not receive the full cost of the camera or shipping confirmation of a new camera from an approved vendor to provided address by the end of the day, Friday, we will be filing a report with the police on Saturday morning. I felt like an a-hole typing this out to her, but I have to do it. And there are some comments. Commenter number 1 says, why would you even borrow this camera to begin with? A G7X is a glorified point-and-shoot camera at the cost of $1,800. Why wouldn't you just use your cell phone? I know this isn't the point, but you borrowed something expensive and then lost it around people you can't trust, and it wasn't something you even needed to use. OP says, yes, you're right. In my defense, I borrowed it from the hotel room we were in to meet them at the hotel restaurant. I never intended to leave property with it. Boyfriend stayed in the room upstairs when I went to meet the friends. I was thinking I could take a few pics on it and bring it back upstairs when I was done. Commenter number 2 says, wow, your update makes you even more of an a-hole. These comments are so harsh.
Oh, jeez.
Just go to the police station and file a report.
That's what OP's doing.
Yeah. You are going to keep giving her a line to hang out with you. Don't be surprised when your boyfriend dumps you after he is made whole for the cost of the camera. Oh my gosh. OP says, I did that because I had a feeling it would be resolved if I made it clear that action would be taken, one way or the other. Commenter number 3 says, my take is that the friend stole the camera because she wanted it, not just to take a few extra pics, after OP went home as she claimed. She didn't lose it, as she first claimed. In my opinion, she still has it, even after all the drama that's already happened. Police is what that girl deserves and needs. That's actually a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Still have it.
That's so possible. 'Cause there was actually another story that we read where someone took like a purse to somewhere and was like, oh, I lost it. And then it turns out it was like in her bag, in her suitcase.
So maybe she didn't lose it.
Yep. OP says, this is starting to feel what it is. I do not know if you are familiar, but this camera, even at full price, is out of stock. Oh, wow. Girls covet it because it is known as the best Instagram camera. I think she took it and hoped I would replace it. Oh my God. On the opinion that OP should be making this up to her boyfriend, OP says, I bought him some golden goose shoes, dinner, and some clothes. I feel awful. I am glad this happened. I am done being used by my friends. And we do have a second update. This is the same day, but just 3 hours later from the last update. She told me that she is sick of me and that I will be receiving a tracking number by 12 Eastern on Friday, and not to blame her if the package is never received. Okay, that's not a great way to start out that promise.
It's just like, I'm getting you your freaking camera.
Yeah.
It might not come though.
Yeah, I'm giving you a confirmation number, but I'm going to cancel it before it comes. Like, what? I told her if she was my real friend, she would be sorry, and in no way will I allow this to be flipped on me. Should I ask if the camera is new or the one that, quote, disappeared? And we do have a third update, which is the next day.
I wonder if it's going to be the same camera.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I feel like you shouldn't even get a confirmation number. I feel like you should order it and just ask for her card info at this point.
But
like,
the thing is, I don't know if she would actually give that, you know?
She probably wouldn't, because that you know, could be sketchy to like share that info with anyone, even if it's your friend. But like, I just feel like she would cancel it, and I want OP to not have or to make sure that she can't cancel the order.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Anyway, update number 3. This is the next day. So she sent me a tracking number via FedEx. It says that it is awaiting the package. I've asked her repeatedly if she is sending me the original camera, assuming it magically turned up, or a new one. She refuses to answer and only tells me to stop bothering her. And by the way, I hope you never stop bothering us by listening to full episodes of stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more to the story.
Yeah, bad friend.
Bad
boo,
friend.
Boo, boo.
Yeah. We do have a fourth update. This is the same day, 10 hours later. OP is on it.
Yeah, thank you.
I am more and more convinced that my friend, the camera thief, took the camera hoping that I would just replace it for my boyfriend, gifting her a free camera. For background, this friend is heavily involved on Instagram and loves taking pictures. The Canon G7 is coveted by women because it is known as the Instagram camera. Even if you wanted to buy one at full price, they are out of stock everywhere. Let's hope it gets returned with this tracking. FedEx still says they're awaiting the package, even though shipping info was sent to them at 7 p.m. yesterday. And we have an update number 5. This is 5 days later.
Dude, I hope you get this camera.
Me too. Also, it would be so stupid if she like actually kept it for herself because then she would post pictures of using the camera.
Yeah, to be like, those are really nice pictures.
Right. So now, update number 4. This is 5 days later. Original camera returned via FedEx the other day. Okay.
Well. I thought you lost that camera.
It has been given back to the boyfriend. However, the camera thief blocked me on all socials after this.
Good, honestly.
Yeah. It appeared that she was trying to keep the camera for herself and expected me to just buy a new one for the boyfriend. Yep. Seems like what it was.
Yes, sirree.
Well, I'm glad it worked. Not glad that all those comments were so harsh.
Yeah, man, you're not the a-hole. And also, would you have gotten that camera back if you had filed the police, in the same condition?
Right.
It seems like
True.
your way worked.
Yeah, absolutely. You did exactly what you should and what the commenters were suggesting. Like, yeah, you just threatened her with the police report and then she fixes it. I feel like that usually helps with small matters as this.
Also, like, the police report takes so long and just it doesn't always go anywhere. So this worked out.
It works out well. So good job. Glad you don't have that friend anymore because she sucks.
I refuse to reconcile with an old friend, even though it would make everyone happy.
We're going to hold on to these grudges.
And this comes directly from the r/OKstorytime subreddit.
Woohoo!
I, 42, non-binary, am a singer-songwriter who used to sing with a group of folks who performed together every week. We wrote and recorded things together, and we all were various queer folks spanning from gay to trans to non-binary. By the way, this comes from Superb Leopard 8285. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, I thought I'd found family. I thought we would be buying property together later in life, and we would be each other's safe space forever. The lead singer, Cecilia, 55, male to female, and pianist Jeff, 50 male, of the band encouraged me to come record on their label. Jeff was an awesome pianist and budding music producer, and he co-owned a label with Medusa, 60 female, who several colleagues of mine had released tunes with. Medusa is a sick name.
It really is.
Cecilia was also releasing 2 songs, and our listening party would debut our songs at the same time, and we would share a release date. I had a few songs ready, and I had released a decent amount of music with multiple DJs worldwide. I knew how distribution worked, and I knew how much things were supposed to cost. I thought it would be fun to record and produce with friends, so I signed a contract to release 2 songs with them. I am business-minded, and since there was a contract, I treated this as separate from the band and its gigs, even though some of the same people overlapped. What that meant to me was that anything regarding the label was between the record label owner and the producer. My mistake was thinking that was their point of view, too. The track built off my composition was terrible. And when the producer, who was our pianist in the band, told me it would take extra time he would have to charge me for, we were nowhere near what I wanted. I had to pay twice the quoted amount because they were my revisions. I hated my songs. I thought the production value was terrible, and I thought I was taking crazy pills. I emailed the producer and the label owner trying to play nice and save feelings. Both gaslit me and tried to tell me I was wrong and that Jeff is a very experienced producer and knows what he's doing. I knew it wasn't good, and more importantly, the record label was going to set up a listening party where tons of people would come to hear the songs. I tried to politely say the songs weren't ready to be heard yet, as the process wasn't complete, and I didn't feel comfortable letting people hear unfinished work. There were a lot of sighs and reactions from Medusa and Jeff, sighs of exasperation, and the owner still doubled down on Jeff's skills being good enough, and then I needed to realize that. I have no need to be right most of the time, but I was not about to let my songs be released in the state they were in. I asked my multi-Billboard charting producer, Lionel, on the opposite coast to listen to the tunes and tell me his honest feedback. Maybe I really was wrong. He would tell me. Lionel wrote back in disbelief. He said these tunes aren't even close to industry ready and included a long, kind, and constructive paragraph about what was missing and what the track needed. My hand on a Bible in court, the paragraph was constructive, And the only reason I got his opinion was because I wasn't being heard and validated at the current label. I also want to say that sometimes a product isn't good or needs improvement, and I was trying to address that professionally so we could all get what we wanted. I sent Lionel's feedback to the producer and the label owner with a link to his website, showing him working with Cher, Sylvester, Martha Wash, and everyone under the sun.
Wow.
I was business-minded, and my objective was to not have my songs played at the party less than a week away. Yeah, you don't want to play stuff that's not good yet.
No.
Or at least good in your opinion.
Exactly. And especially if you got this second opinion on it too, with a clearly a successful person. Yeah. Stand
also,
by yourself.
I think and these are, your quote-unquote children. So don't let people, walk all over you.
Exactly.
I wrote something in the email professionally along the lines of, please hear what Lionel has to say and understand I align with his thinking. And this is the reason I don't want the tunes heard yet. Panties in a bunch, Jeff didn't take the feedback well and didn't handle it well either. He never wanted to talk or have any conversation. Hating me was easier. Away from the recording studio, the band had to rehearse, and we met at a club downtown during the day. My ex-husband, I was married at the time, to Mike, 43 male, and I head to rehearsal. My ex was the videographer and content manager, so he had every right to be there and had been at every rehearsal ever. I walked in and had no idea that Jeff was at the piano, pissed. He ripped Mike's head off, threw him out, and it was so cruel and mean.
Gosh.
I had to do the whole rehearsal with no answers, with Jeff treating me like crap and acting like a little child, while my ex-husband sat outside. The whole band was uncomfortable and nothing was said. Nothing was explained. We left rehearsal hurt and upset. Cecilia asked Jeff what that was about, and he told her about the email with the feedback from Lionel and what was said. Fast forward a few weeks, Jeff barely acknowledges me at rehearsal, and I've now had to pay Lionel $700 to make the tracks industry ready, aka fix Jeff's tracks. Now they could be played at the listening party, but Jeff wasn't talking to me, and the band went on break. The listening party happened. The label took credit for tracks that Lionel and I had cut and pasted together across the country. I thought time might take the edge off, but a month later, I'm at the dog park. Lots of people are around, people I know since it's my neighborhood. I have 3 dogs, and we all kind of know each other. Cecilia happens to be walking the park at the same time. She sees me, basically tells her husband to hold her coat, and she verbally berates me in front of every single person. That's so inappropriate.
Yeah.
In public?
Yeah.
Come on. Everyone's staring. I'm still like, what is this about? I'm business-minded and can't imagine a breach under any circumstances. But she yells, you sent that email to Jeff and it crushed him. He's a professional.
Right. He should have taken criticism.
Yeah, you cannot be a professional in the creative industry and not know how to take criticism. I was amazed that she knew about it, took his side, and ripped me a new one in public without even hearing me. I know if Cecilia had an issue with her songs, she would pull them immediately. She would raise heck. I couldn't believe a constructive email, kindly worded, could make someone hate me so much. I couldn't believe Cecilia sided with Jeff when we know how sacred our creations are and how much it costs to produce quality recordings. After the screaming ended, I took her aside and pointed out she had never asked for my side. She paused and let me explain my side of the story. I explained that my songs weren't ready and asked her what she would do in my shoes. She said, well, I guess I would try to get them not to play them either. Once I connected some dots, I realized this was not about me being mean about someone's work. This was about me being a whistleblower calling out that this label was basically a fraud and not worth what artists are paying for. I am sorry if that's hard to hear. I know Jeff is her friend, but business is different. And Jeff is taking our money and not producing quality work. I never tried to hurt anyone, but I'm not putting my name on those songs. Cecilia began to realize that maybe she had been wrong, but I was gone. Shut down, shut out, like girl, bye. I was mortified by the scene. I have a strong boundary about public humiliation and being screamed at in public, as I assume most people would.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a bit too far.
I was disgusted by Jeff's inability to hear that the customer, me, isn't satisfied. It's really not personal and we need to work and learn together. I was angry at him for sharing private exchanges with Cecilia. I was angry with Cecilia for taking Jeff's side. I was angry Cecilia let Jeff punt Mike out. None of us are making enough money for any of this to be a thing. Cecilia was complicit and took sides without having all the info, screamed at me in my happy place, and no, I'm sorry from her would not suffice. I bounced. I blocked. I peaced out. The pandemic happened. My divorce happened. 6 years later, I moved back, and Cecilia has made friends with a large number of my friends in my absence. It's gotten around that I've moved back, and Cecilia and friends, not Jeff, want us to reconcile. And I'd love for you to reconcile with us by listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story.
Wow.
Any final thoughts?
I think OP handled that perfectly.
Yeah.
Honestly. You stood up for yourself, you explained yourself, and you didn't try to continue being friends with Cecilia anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, now people are trying to get you guys to reconcile, so do what you will with that.
But, it's never, it's not like her being angry at you or her, growing apart from you. This is her yelling at you in a public space, especially a place that you felt safe in.
Yeah. And that people know you there too.
Yeah, and that's like
in your neighborhood.
Just that's a step too far.
Oh yeah.
That would be hard to forget.
For sure.
It's gotten out to a few folks that we used to be friends and collaborators, and they want us to get together again. I have said no many times, and they finally began to figure out I was avoiding Cecilia. My no isn't working. Friends are saying, obviously, it's unfinished if she keeps popping up, and she would be devastated if she knew how much she hurt you. Just talk to her. I do not want to. Yes, it would be easier for everyone else, but I can't tolerate another conversation about something from the past and call it healing. I'm over it. Would I be the a-hole if I told my well-meaning friends, thanks, but no thanks on rekindling my friendship with Cecilia? And what do you think?
I think no.
I think no, too.
Yeah, it's a boundary of yours. Yeah, exactly. It's your boundary. They can understand it. They're friends of yours.
And they can offer that advice.
Yeah.
And also, they should respect that you don't want to take it.
Yeah.